cliff jumper. Commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Hello and welcome to the 62nd episode of ToyCast, sponsored by BigBadToyStore.com, where you can save from 20 to 90% on over 1,000 items. I am your host, TFg1Mike, and joining me is PecanCtMichael. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Yes, and while ToyCast is not officially back yet, this is the second of two teaser episodes, spotlight episodes, whatever you want to call them. In this one, Michael is going to be briefly talking about every single exclusive toy from Botcon 2010.
Woof.
Woof?
There's a lot.
Oh, there's only 11.
Only. Yeah.
Well, this isn't going to be like, in-depth reviews. It's just basically general discussion about each.
Right. No,
so
this one has all joints at the hips and ankles. And don't forget the head. Oh, he can actually look up. No, I don't think we're going to get that in depth, but, we'll definitely briefly gloss over each one.
Yes.
For fun. You know who has gone in depth, and I've really enjoyed reading his reviews on the Botcon toys.
Thorazine.
Thorazine.
Yep.
He's got some really nice reviews posted, and he takes awesome photos.
Yes, he does.
I kind of wish that his collection was a little bigger. Because it's like the Botcon Clench. I'd really like to see him photoed next to all the other repaints of this mold.
Well, you can do that, can't you?
I could. I haven't taken any photos in a while, and I don't have the photo booth, which is basically why I quit taking photos. I suppose I could always put something together. But back when I was actually using my Flickr account, I was taking way too much time to set up backgrounds and lighting and all that other stuff, and just gave up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but hey, Thorazine's got some really nice stuff up now. In fact, I was looking at these photos, and it's like, wow, I don't even have to take mine out of the package now. I got pretty good pictures of them right here.
Yeah. So I think this was an old blog post, but you put a blog post on Twitter the other day about
It's kind of like the opening day of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago now. That was back in 2006.
Yep.
That I originally posted that. When I first built my oak shelves, I basically had all these toys in boxes, and I wanted to take them out of the boxes and put them on the shelves. And I could not bring myself to do it. And I said, Chrissy, I told my wife, Chrissy, I've got all these toys. Can you help me open them? And she's like, heck yeah! And she just started tearing the shit out of them. And, here's me, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my god! Don't open them! But she did. She just opened everything. And it was good, because I got to get everything on the shelves, but it was still scary. It was a scary moment.
It was a scary moment because she's like me when it comes to packaging. I just rip it open.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just no... I try to be careful and cut the plastic off and, keep the card in good shape, or as good as you can without,
Yeah, with that...
steam it open.
with that expert knifing skills that has your name engraved on it.
That's right, the knife of doom. My Vorpal blade as I cut through a plastic with ease. Yeah, so I try to be more careful, whereas she's just like tearing through things. Yeah, but she was a big help. So we got all that stuff out of there and was putting stuff up. But somebody had said on Twitter, and I forget exactly how this came about, but it was like, oh, I needed my wife to help me open toys or something. And I said, oh, well, my wife helps. And I posted that link. And it didn't occur to me that link was like 4 years old. It's kind of strange. I was hunting for it, and I'm like, I know it's in here somewhere, but I didn't realize it was that far back.
Mm.
So it's kind of strange. But, yeah, my favorite part of that post was the link to a movie called it's called Figure Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch the Figure Club link?
No.
Oh, it's awesome. It's kind of a riff on Fight Club.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah, it was a riff on Fight Club, except it's a story about this guy who collects all mint on card, not Transformers, Star Wars figures.
Mm-hmm.
And, Tyler Durden comes along and says, you have to open all your toys. All your toys are sitting in this plastic and they're meant to be played with. You got to open them up and free them. And the quote I liked was, only once you open up all your toys are you free to play anything you want. And, that really struck me back then. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to open all my toys.
Mm.
And then, 4 years later, I have another huge pile that I haven't opened yet, which, became the impetus for Opening Day,
Mm-hmm.
the movie, the gala 1 minute event. Yeah. But, yeah, so we come full circle, and I opened all my toys again. But, yeah, in 2006, my wife helped me, and we actually sat down and inventoried all the toys. And I made my inventory spreadsheet, and then we dusted them, got all the pieces together, and then put them up on the shelves.
Mm.
And that was the first time I did it. So, yeah, the second time was just recently.
Yes, and then the next time that there'll be another opening day, it'll be 2015. Uh-oh, you gotta watch out for 2015.
That's right.
There's a lot of props going to happen in 2015.
The chupacabras exist, and they've been found in Texas.
I have been reading Exodus, and it's okay. It's strange because it doesn't feel like a Transformers book to me, even though that's what it is.
Yeah.
It feels like somebody just published their own fan fiction in book form. Honestly, it does. It doesn't feel like something that, even though Hasbro... I don't understand this. How can Hasbro be the only copyright holder? Did they license this guy, Alex Irvine, to write it, and then they made some sort of deal with him that only they could have the copyright? I don't understand that.
Well, no, they just contracted him to write it.
Okay.
It'd be kind of like if I asked somebody to write my autobiography.
Yeah.
I still own the rights to it. It's my story, but somebody else wrote it. The way Aaron Archer had talked at Botcon, they, primarily he, right, had sat down and created this new mythos. And the book, right, and the video game, War for Cybertron, were going to be the new canon, or the beginning of the new canon, actually setting the story 9 million years ago, and saying, okay, this is our reboot,
Right.
and then everything that came afterward would follow and be part of this reboot. And I thought that's great, fantastic. Let's do it right. Let's he had a handle on things, and he had been talking about actually going all the way back to the original 13 Transformers, like these titans of Transformer mythos, and actually fleshing them out and telling their stories, and how that reflects upon present day Transformers, or Transformers of War for Cybertron era,
Right. Yeah.
that type of thing. And I thought that what a fantastic idea. But from what I've been hearing, the stuff from the book is already contradicting the stuff from the game.
Well, the stuff I'm only on like chapter 15 or 16. It's like I'm on page 100 and something, like maybe 125 or 135, and I don't have the book in front of me. It's in my bedroom. Yeah. The problem with the book is it says that the leader is Sentinel Prime.
Yeah, and in the video game it says that the leader is Zeta Prime.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting for Zeta Prime to show up or some sort of mention for this. But I'm to the point now, and if hopefully there's nobody listening to this that hasn't read the book yet, so spoiler alert here.
I haven't read the book.
Well, normally I don't do the spoiler alert announcement because I just don't care. But I'm at the point where Optimus and Megatron are no longer friends. Orion Pax and Megatron are no longer friends because the Council has named Orion Pax Optimus Prime, and he is the leader of the Autobots, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm at the point now where Alpha Trion is just cataloging all this stuff and basically just saying everything that's happened in the war, and it's just this long diatribe of like all these different things, and I'm thinking, where the hell is the damn dialogue? Because it's like from chapter...
Should they be talking? Or something?
No. It's Alpha Trion writing in the Covenant of Primus all the stuff, all the battles, and he mentions Ultra Magnus is the leader of the Wreckers, and he talks about the 7 Constructicons, which I hate that. I hate that they put in movie verse number. Fucking stupid. 7 Constructicons that form Devastator.
Yeah. What kills me though is even over Botcon, Aaron Archer was saying there are hundreds of Constructicons.
Yeah.
And there are hundreds of Combaticons, and there are hundreds of aerial bots. And just because a certain 5 combine into Superion, that doesn't necessarily mean that another 5 can't be, Inferion or whoever.
I can't... Inferion, wow.
He's not as superior as Superion, so he's...
Well, and I can understand that, but, I mean, if you're going to sit there and say an origin story for the original Constructicons that form Devastator, I would much rather prefer... Obviously, you go by the G1 continuity of 6, and not the fucking movie continuity of 7.
I've actually read fanfiction, and I can't remember I'm pretty sure this is fanfiction, that said there was like 8, and one of them was a steamroller, or one of them was, a crane or something, I don't know, something else, something other than what the, the main 6 are, and went into gory detail about how Mr. Steamroller got dismantled in a battle. And it's like, well, what's Devastator going to do now? He's missing a good chunk of his midsection, and that's why he's so skinny now.
Yeah, I don't know.
That type of thing.
It's okay. It's I'm going to eventually read through the whole thing and write a review of it, but at this point in time, I'm still reading through it. It's keeping my interest, but just all the exposition that Alpha Trion is doing at the point in the book that I'm at, it's like, oh my god, get it over with. I want to read a shouting match between Prime and Megatron already or something. I mean, they do, give a lot of good nods. Like, I think page 12, or I don't know, like in the very beginning of the book where we don't even know who Megatron really is. He's just this gladiator named Megatronus, which I think is stupid as hell of a name.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's interesting, because that's what they were going to name the original, or the evil god of war, of the original 13, because each one has their own virtue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was going to be Megatronus.
Yeah.
And that's where the name Megatron comes from.
Yeah. Well, that's where
he didn't say, "Oh, Megatron was actually Megatronus," because that, it's like, wait a minute, are you telling me that Megatron is the original 13 God of War? And that doesn't make any sense.
Well, in the book, the way that they talk about it is this gladiator that has named he was brought online with no name. So once he was doing all this gladiatorial stuff in Kaon or Kion or however the hell you're supposed to say the damn city's name.
Yeah.
He named himself Megatronus after one of the 13.
Oh, there you go.
And then everyone just started shouting Megatron, so he got rid of the us, and that's how it becomes Megatron in the book. But where the hell was I going with this? Damn it.
No idea.
Oh yeah, no, I know. In the very beginning, when they're doing the whole gladiatorial thing and talking about him doing gladiatorial battles and stuff, there was a point at the end of one of the battles where he has won, and he in all capital letters it says "I still function," and that's a nice nod, basically. But yeah, it's okay so far. It's not as good as I thought it was gonna be so far, but again, I haven't finished it, so I don't know.
I think I'd like to go back and read some of the IDW trade paperbacks, like the Origin of Megatron series, and
See, that's
see how much of that is actually a nod, or how much of that is swiped completely by the book.
yeah. See, see, the thing is though, you really can't compare.
Yeah, at this point, it's two different continuities.
Well, it's not even the continuity fact. It's the fact that the IDW comics / trade paperbacks are just that. There are no pictures in this thing. It is an actual. It's like if you went to go buy a John Grisham book.
Right, but what I'm saying though is that the stories that sounds a lot alike. I mean,
Yeah.
Until IDW did their Megatron origin story, nobody ever thought that Megatron was, a miner who became a gladiator, who became a cultural leader.
Mm.
That was completely new. Or the look that he had before, before he became, I don't want to say a gun, but yeah. That type of thing. And there's a lot of neat, interesting things that IDW covered, and I'm wondering how much was completely swiped by, Hasbro to create this new mythos.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, so far it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing I've ever read, but again, like I've kept saying, I haven't finished it yet, and I will finish it. But right now, it's doing all I can take to get through this whole prose thing of Alpha Trion just going on and on about each friggin' battle in each friggin' city.
Yeah. I had the same issue with like the Lord of the Rings, where you get to a certain part in like the second book or something where all they do is go on and on and on about history and battles, and it's like, all right, can we move the story forward a little bit? But they just won't.
I first read Fellowship of the Ring when I was 14. I got to page like page 22 or something or other, like the first 3 chapters. As soon as they said 111st birthday, I was done because I could not understand what the hell that meant. It's 111th birthday. And I'm like, 111st. I'm like, what the hell kind of a number is that? Of course, I was 14 at the time. But
Tolkien had his own language, period.
Yeah.
And like he composed poems and, just complete speeches in his own languages.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get down that rat hole right now.
No, we're not going to.
I was actually about to lean toward, let me tell you about the video game. Oh my god, when I can get the damn thing running. Because it crashes a lot. It seems to have crashed on every chapter so far.
Well, you have the PC version, don't you?
Yeah.
And the PC version is the worst version, isn't it?
The thing with like the PC version, and here I am doing exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, which was complain about the video game. But when you have a PS3 or an Xbox, there's one mode. It looks good because it's a PS3, or it looks good because it's an Xbox. But when you get into the computer, especially with like first-person shooters, usually you have certain levels of anti-alias you can choose. 2 times, 4 times. You can go as high as like 8 or 16, depending on what video card you have. You can choose to set the textures on high, medium, low texture, and it depends on what your computer can handle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can change these and add effects like, let's say, reflection or shadows or how the sky moves and that type of thing. There's all these different things that you can turn on and off in order to tailor the graphic experience to your playstyle, right? So I mean, if your computer's powerful enough to handle reflections in the water and full-on Gaussian blur shadowing and high-resolution backgrounds and textures and bump mapping and 8 times the anti-aliasing, then great, you're going to have a fantastic visual experience. It's going to be a treat. If it can't, well, then you dumb everything down and it looks really crappy, but your computer can't handle it, so you never know. In my experience, if your computer can handle it, it often ends up looking better than what you'd get on the Xbox or the PS3. Now, the problem with this game is it doesn't have any of those. You can choose your resolution, high resolution or low resolution. You can anywhere from 800 by 600 all the way up to 1920 by 1200. Which is where I have mine set. And then there's the textures, high, medium, or low texture. And that's pretty much it. That's about all you have to adjust here. So I put mine on high texture. I've got a pretty high resolution, and I got a big monitor. And the game runs pretty well. Occasionally it'll slow down, like when there's a lot going on the screen at the same time. Like during a boss battle or something, I'll get a little slowdown.
Yeah.
But then it picks right back up and I'm okay. But again, it crashes at every chapter. There's cinematics that run.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because I'm just running out of memory or what, but I should be okay. I'm not sure what the problem is. I got to reload it and then go back and watch it again and hope it doesn't crash. So, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of interesting nods, a lot of homages and such. It lets you play as different characters. So, like, if you're in a 3-man team with Megatron, Breakdown, and Soundwave, you can play as Soundwave, or you can play as Megatron, or you can play as Breakdown. And, there's a lot of really neat dialogue. Breakdown is hilarious. I still love Breakdown. It's like you take down this massive Autobot, and Breakdown's like, see that? That was me! Or he'll be walking along with Megatron, and Megatron says, I've targeted this entire area for a dark Energon bombing run. And Breakdown's like, what are you, freaking crazy? And he goes, oh, sorry, I mean, yeah, that's a great plan. And Soundwave, for the most part, is, kind of, he's just there. And he'll say things occasionally, like status reports. But,
does he, we all saw the GameStop trailer, or whatever it was, the promotional trailer with the touch.
Right.
Does he really transform it all into some sort of futuristic set deck?
No.
Damn!
No. Not that I've seen so far. He transforms into a truck. And compared to Megatron, he's pretty fast. Megatron transforms into kind of like a hover tank, and he's slow. But, Breakdown transforms into a car, and he's fast. He's just whoosh, And Soundwave transforms into like a truck tank type of thing, and he's, in between. He's pretty quick if he needs to be. And there's whole sections of the game where it's like, all right, go this way as fast as you can. It's like, okay, cool. Don't get hit by the trains as they speed along. So you're kind of racing, and then you're coming up to a ramp, and you shoot over the ramp, and you sky over a train, and it's really neat, especially when you attack Iacon, the Autobot capital, because you can tell that at one point it was really beautiful, and there's Energon fountains, and it's like palatial, and then you're there basically just to trash it. It's fun. I'm enjoying myself, but again, as far as a PC-based first-person shooter, very limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as pleased as I could have been.
How does the PC handle the because one of their big one of their big marketing things for War for Cybertron is, you're going to see stuff going on in the background, and Cybertron isn't just going to be it's not just going to be like a Mortal Kombat background where it's just the background and that's it.
Right.
There's going to be stuff moving around and people going places in the. How is that on the PC?
It's really nice, especially when you're outside, because you could be. I mean, there's huge sections of the part that I've played so far, at least, where, you could be on an orbital station, and there's huge chunks of debris that you literally have to use as, platforms to get from one place to another, and. Not only is this all this debris floating in space, but there's a space battle going on around you, and there's seeker jets flying and shooting at each other. I want to compare this to, like, in Star Wars, where in the newer ones, not so much the old ones, but in the newer ones where, you've got someone in their ship and they're flying and they're shooting at people, but there's all this stuff going on around them. They're in the middle of a battle, and it's not just them and their opponent. It's everything going around. And that's kind of what you get in War for Cybertron, where, yes, I'm standing on a platform and I'm trying to shoot this aerial butt out of the sky, but in the background I can see Cybertron floating. And in between us are all these other ships that are shooting at each other. They're not close enough where they can shoot you or you can interact with them, but they're there. I mean, it's kind of neat. And then even when you go underground, there's machinery that's moving, there's pistons that move in and out of the walls, and you can run into them and you don't really get damaged. I mean, I haven't flown into any at full speed, but but there's stuff going on. It's not just you.
Demolition Derby mode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, half the time I don't even notice these things because I'm flying around them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying myself. It's fun. There are technological shortcomings here, but the game itself is pretty strong. The storyline, I'm buying it. I really like the characters. There's a lot of personality here. A lot of personality. You spend a whole chapter with the 3 seeker jets, and Starscream's like, when I become leader, and he's Starscream, right? And there's a point where the Autobots trap them in this ship, and the ship's going down, and he's like, "Ha! They think they can trap me in here. They may think I'm as dumb as Skywarp." and then they fly out, and Skywarp says, "What do you mean as dumb as Skywarp, Starscream? I'll show you dumb." And Starscream says, "Yes, you always do." I mean, it's just really good dialogue, and the personalities really shine through.
Yeah.
I know you were upset that you can only play as certain characters.
I've gone through this before multiple times on this show.
I know.
And on ATTF. My complaint is that you can only play as certain characters in the online modes, like with the GameStop exclusive of Shockwave. If you're going to have a store exclusive, you should be able to use it throughout the game, regardless of what the game is or what the mechanics of the game are.
Right, and after
the whole point
playing
of
the game,
Cybertron,
I can tell you that if you were to try to play the Seeker Jet mode as a tank, it wouldn't work. You'd be stuck there, and you wouldn't be able to fly your way out of a certain room, and you'd be very unhappy. So there's probably no way you could really get away with that.
Okay, and I understand that's the mechanics of War for Cybertron, but what I'm saying is that supposedly that they have this 3-person co-op thing, whether you're using other people or not. Even if you're just playing a single player game, there's 2 other robots with you, right?
Yeah.
That you can choose from. So
they have the co-op mode so that other people can play as those other robots.
Right, exactly. But if it's just you playing as, switching between the 3, why not have that exclusive character amongst those 3? That's my biggest complaint.
So you can't actually switch between the 3. You get to pick one.
Oh, really? You can't switch between them?
No.
Well, that sucks.
As far as I know, you pick one character at the beginning of the chapter, and then you play as that character all the way through. If you want to play as a different character, I think you have to play the chapter over again.
Oh, God, that really sucks.
Well, I mean, so far, I've played as Megatron once, and that was fun, and then I played as Soundwave once, and that was fun. I might enjoy playing as Breakdown. Each one has different abilities.
Yeah.
So, like Thundercracker has a drone that he can drop, and it shoots at enemies. And Skywarp can turn invisible for brief periods.
Yeah.
I forget what Starscream does, but...
See, I thought it was that you pick your 3, and you can, if you singly and no one's going to join you, you pick your 3 robots, and you go through whether it's the Decepticon campaign or the Autobot campaign, and you can cycle between the 3 of them, kind of like
no,
a Marvel versus Capcom thing.
No. There are 3 pre-chosen characters for each chapter.
Oh, God, that sucks.
No, it doesn't suck, because it helps the story. It's like, the first chapter is Megatron, and he's attacking this orbital station. And then once Megatron overtakes the station in Chapter 1, he recruits Starscream, because Starscream is the leader of the station. Mm-hmm. So he recruits him. Chapter 2 is Starscream and his first mission. And Starscream has to activate the Energon Bridge, which in this case is used to power up the station. So Megatron can continue his plans. Chapter 3, then, is Megatron then attacking Iacon. But he's doing it with...
So you do cycle through the characters, just not on the same mission. Not in the same chapter.
Well, what I'm saying is you can't choose. You've got... the first chapter is Megatron, Brawl, and I think like another combatant or something. So you've got 3 characters. You can choose from one of them. And the thing is that as they wander through the levels, each one has dialogue. And so which means that you have to be one of those 3 characters so that their dialogue will come out.
Mm.
While you're playing Chapter 3, Chapter 3, you can choose between Megatron, Soundwave, or Breakdown. And you can only choose between those 3. And if when you're playing, you've got Megatron issuing orders to Breakdown, and Breakdown complaining, and then Soundwave spouting out status reports. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have to be one of those 3, or else, the storyline of the game will be broken.
Yeah. So far, I'm not too thrilled with this game, but
well, the first player game, it's not a bad first player game. It's actually, I get it on medium difficulty, and it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Mostly I'm dying because I'm not being very smart and kind of wading into battles and trying to do melee damage, and I should be sticking back and doing sniper damage, that type of thing.
Yeah. Before we move into the actual toy discussion, we've kind of gone on and on about the game and the book and all that.
I know, we need to have a book podcast and a video game podcast. So we can
the video game podcast was going to be taking off, but that's still on height. That hasn't happened yet. But anyway.
Well, no, I mean specifically about Exodus and specifically about War for Cybertron.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we can have an episode of that on all things Transformers.
Well, once you finish the book and once I finish the game, I suppose we can go into that a little more in depth. But it sounds like I've already answered a bunch of questions that you may have had already.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to get my hands on it to even see. And
well, you got a new computer now, so
I know, but still, I don't know. Anyways, before we get into the Botcon 2010 exclusive talk, wanted to bring up as a little outro to this. I wrote a blog post a while ago about the future of ToyCast, and it's not so much that the show is going to end at all. I want to find a way to streamline it more. So I was thinking of doing what we've done here now for the past 33 minutes of intro, general chat, catch up, and all that stuff. I was also thinking of doing a small toy-only news segment, and then the display case segment would be the normal toy talk stuff that we've always done. I was also thinking about bringing a discussion topic segment. It could happen. It probably won't, seeing as how the toy discussion usually goes on at length and nauseum. And then obviously the outro. I don't know if discussion topic will happen. And mainly what the discussion topic thing I had was like, we could talk about certain toy packaging or the history of toy packaging or what really attracts us about a certain package of a toy or something if we see it out of the corner of our eye in a toy store. I don't know if the discussion topic segment is going to happen. It's just something I wrote down as a maybe.
That sounds like a long-ass podcast.
And again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even if you took out the discussion topic and you had, just the news and the general, toy talk, it would still be, fairly, not too lengthy, but it would still be at a good amount. Because, normally we end up talking about, TF news or whatever else anyways after we're done with the toy talk for the most part.
Yeah.
On some episodes, so I'm just trying to streamline it a little bit more. Constantly evolving the show. We are in the 60 mark of the episodes, so
yeah. Well, it might be time to straighten things out, freshen things up a bit.
Oh yes, but there'll still be the same raunchy stuff going on.
Well, that's the wrong podcast.
Yeah, true. So. All right,
I don't think we get that bad in here.
Yeah, there's no Barney and Megatron in this show, though, thank
exactly.
God. All right, so we are going to move on to the Botcon 2010 toys. We will be right back.
And the head sculpt is absolutely perfect. And, as you can see, it has 360-degree articulation.
Starscream, have you completed your work on the new antimatter gun?
Oh, Mighty Megatron. I seem to have forgotten, but... my exclusives!
You fail me yet again, Starscream. Breakdown, counterpunch. Come here.
Yes, Mighty Megatron.
We're running out of ultimate weapon ideas. There must be somewhere we can find one.
Didn't you and some of the other Decepticons go to Botcon last year?
Did I hear Botcon?
Ah, yes, Botcon. The convention dedicated to everything Transformers. Yes.
I'm looking forward to the seminars, panels, film festival, dealers selling all kinds of Transformers toys, celebrity guests, the debut of the Transformers Hall of Fame, and Hasbro will be on hand to showcase new Transformers toys for 2010.
Exclusive toys!
Of course. If there was anywhere on this Earth where I can find what I need to defeat the Autobots, it would be at Botcon. Decepticons, follow me to Botcon.
Punch, what did you find out? Prime, the Decepticons are headed to Botcon. Teletran 1, tell me more about this year's Botcon.
Connecting to Botcon.com. Botcon 2010 is being held June 24th to June 27th in Orlando, Florida. Attendees can either register or come as a walk-in on Saturday and Sunday. Special honor is to be presented to Optimus Prime.
Well then, it looks like we have a convention to get to. Autobots, we're going to Botcon.
I'm ready, Megatron.
Starscream.
From June 21st to June 28th, Michael was at Disney World and Botcon. And we are here to talk about, not in depth, just kind of like glossing over every single Botcon toy from Botcon 2010. So we're going to start with the box set, and you can start with whatever one you want to start with first.
I'll start with the big one, which is Clench.
Uh-huh.
And, the nice thing about the Botcon sets, to start off with, is that they always come in this big cardboard box with the styrofoam insert,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just very nicely done. The box always has really nice art on it. It's a pretty sturdy box, and I much prefer the styrofoam insert to, let's say, like plastic with twisty ties to hold everything in place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is really nice. It's just quality stuff. And I know they do the same thing with their G.I. Joe exclusives for their annual G.I. Joe event.
Yeah, JoeCon.
Yeah, just really, they really class act. They do a good job with that stuff. But Clench comes from the
Onslaught.
Onslaught mold. I kept wanting to say Hardhead, but Hardhead was the Autobot repaint. But it comes from the Onslaught mold, and I really liked that mold. But the big difference is that it had electronics, so you could press the button on the top, and it would make sounds and light and that type of thing.
Mm.
And this one doesn't. So that's unfortunate. Not a huge deal, but it's like, man, it would have been nice if it could keep that. I'm not sure if they could include the electronics and still hold on to the price point, though.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So, but I don't actually have the original like G2 Clench. I think it was a UK exclusive. Kind of like the original. I want to know. I'm trying to think, what the hell was his name? Pyro.
Yeah.
Who was Spark? They renamed him Spark, but originally Pyro was a UK exclusive, so we never actually saw them here. But they tried to go with something similar to that funky, sparkly plastic that they used on the original Clench, and they used like a blue plastic with little chunks of silver, something or another in it. It's different. I've never seen this before, and to me, it kind of looks like. It almost makes it look like the plastic doesn't have full integrity, like, oh, it's a bad batch and it'll probably break if you handle it too much.
Mm.
I'm sure it's not. It just looks funky.
Yeah.
But in keeping with the G2 motif, there's plenty of neon on him. He's got neon pink on him and neon green and just a smattering of yellow. But, he looks good. I'm happy with him. And they gave him a new head. So when he stands next to, my hard head and my Onslaught, he'll look different.
Cool.
Yeah, I dig it. It's all right. I mean, if you're not a fan of this particular mold, then you're not going to be happy with it.
The robot mode looks okay to me. I'm not a fan of APC Transformers.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't really care for that. But I mean, the robot mode looks awesome though.
Yeah, he looks good. I did mention Spark, which is what they're calling the fire truck.
Mm-hmm.
In the UK and G2, they had an exclusive toy named Pyro, and he was really just the ass ugliest fire truck you'd ever seen in your life. And they did a pretty good job of replicating that ass ugly paint job. But I mean, that's some people are going to look at this particular toy and say, "Oh my God, that looks like ass." But that's kind of the point. I mean, the paint jobs they used in the 90s were just painfully gaudy.
Yeah.
And the UK ones were just the worst offenders of the bunch, right?
Yeah. And we should mention that he is based off of the Universe Inferno mold.
Right. And I've got the Universe Inferno mold, and I really like it. But honestly, you can't set these two side by side and see much of a resemblance.
I wouldn't think so.
It's that funky. It is. I mean, this guy's got purple and lavender and dark blue and yellow. He's got black and yellow bumblebee stripes.
Ink for the rest of him.
Yeah, it is hot pink. I was going to say something like a really light red, but no, this is really like pink. And yeah, it doesn't get much better in robot mode because they offset the hot pink with like a. It's not baby blue. It's darker than baby blue, but it's blue.
Yeah.
So your robot mode is basically blue, hot pink with these yellow accents.
The funny thing is, looking at this picture on Botcon.com, it looks like he's got caution tape on his arms and legs. It's like, don't come near this toy.
That's essentially, yeah. It's funky. So he's got a lot of color on him, and it's not necessarily a good thing.
No.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so like I said, you can't set this guy next to Inferno and expect them, to really catch the same vibe off either one of them.
Mm.
But, is it a good mold? Yeah, I like this mold. I think he's a little empty in the chest region, like behind his. It's kind of like with G1 Optimus Prime. Behind the chest, you've got air.
Yeah, that's what sucks.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of space under there, and there's not much you can do about it, right? But,
right.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? So yeah, I don't mind. I like the mold. He's a nice, bulky character, but leave it at that. We've got Street Star.
Oh boy, yay.
Yeah.
The hooker of the set.
The hooker?
Oh, Nitro Streak said when they revealed the name change, she said that Street Star sounds like a name for a hooker.
Oh, Streetwalker?
No, Street Star, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's supposed to be from the Defensor team. Oh, help me out here. What's his name? Streetwise.
Streetwise, yeah.
Yeah, Streetwise. And yeah, had a brain freeze there for a second. But yeah, the G2 Protectobots took me a second. I want to say Defensobots, but the G2 Protectobots were never released. But test copies, I guess you could call them, came out. So there's like 3 or 4 of these guys in existence, and the Streetwise was black. So basically, you've got a Classics Prowl repaint,
yeah,
in black and red. So nothing like profound here. It's not like some of these other repaints that are just really, really gaudy. I mean, he's black. He kind of reminds me of Barricade from the movie.
Yeah. If I was to get any of them out of this set just for the alt mode, it would probably be him, just because it's a black car.
You don't like the gaudy colors?
Oh no, not at all.
Well, again, that's part of the charm here, is that they're going back to these G2 toys that were just like, some of them were just hideous.
Yeah.
But no, I like it. It's all right. Again, he's not quite as over the top. But he's okay. I like this mold. I think I've been reused an awful lot.
Is it just me, or is his? I know you're not looking at this because look at the actual toy on his right leg. Is it different than his left leg? Because on the picture on Botcon.com, it shows his right leg as a little bit posed. Maybe it's bent at the knee joint, but it's not showing the actual same design that's on the left leg. It's something slightly different. It's like 2 spots of blue and a piece of red, whereas the other one, his other leg is solid blue on the bottom near the foot, and the foot is red.
I'm not quite seeing what you're talking about.
Well,
maybe it's just they don't have one knee pulled back far enough or something.
Yeah, maybe that could be it.
Yeah, but no, I think he looks. I mean, he the way his hips are, he's got, kind of like lights on his hips where one's red and one's blue.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I'm talking about on his actual foot.
Oh no, I think for the most part he's pretty symmetrical.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I think is really G2 about this guy is the fact that he's got, the big G2 Autobot symbol that says Autobot across his front windshield.
Yeah.
And they did that a lot in G2. Like, most of them would have, like, their names on the toy.
Yep.
So if you had, like, you know, a Jazz, G2 Jazz, it would say Jazz, you know, or have the insignia and Autobot across it and say Jazz.
Well, now they have to call him Autobot Jazz because they lost the rights to just Jazz.
That's true, yeah. Well, a lot of the older ones they have to call Autobot.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, you know, not a big deal. I can
No.
live with that.
No.
Yeah. And nextly we have Breakdown.
Mr. Peghead.
Mr. Peghead. Well, technically they all had peg heads, but it's really cool that they would go with that particular head for this guy, since, you know, that's the way he looked.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the same mold as the Punch Double Punch that they just came out with.
Yeah, Punch Counter Punch. What a letdown that was.
What, the Punch Counter Punch?
Yeah.
Why is it a letdown?
I don't know, just the...
It's a car that turns into 2 separate robots. I mean, that's kind of cool. I was kind of sorry that I didn't pre-order one because they went really, really quick. But, yeah, so, you know, this is the same mold as a Sideswipe and Sunstreaker from the Classics line.
Yeah.
Except he's really, really teal and pink.
He is the definition of hot pink.
Oh, man. And this is, you know, what I was talking about when I said, you know, a lot of these G2 cars were just gaudy, just really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, you know, one of the Stunticons that wasn't produced.
Right.
And again, they made these in really weird colors. I mean, if you take a look at some of the combiners that were produced for G2, like Devastator, right? They had one in yellow and one in orange.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you take a look, well, you know, Superion wasn't all that awful. I mean, they gave him some pretty straight colors, just blues and reds and blacks. But like, the Combaticons all had, well, yeah, some of them had some pretty questionable coloring. Yeah. But, yeah, they really went wonky with Defensor and Bruticus, but, you know, they were never produced.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because this guy is awesome. Well, you know, I mean, you know, I like the fact that they got the different head, and, you know, I like the fact that if you stand him up next to, let's say, like Sunstreaker, you know, he won't be the same. I mean, again, it's hard to tell that they're the same toy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's not Sunstreaker that uses the same mold, but
yeah, it's Sunstreaker and Sideswipe.
Well, Sideswipe has the car hood as his chest, whereas Sunstreaker uses the windshield as his chest. So it's just a different way of transforming him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't show. Well, I suppose I could transform him that way, but I haven't seen any pictures of Breakdown transformed as Sunstreaker. So technically he's supposed to look like Sideswipe, but you know, again, you've got his name emblazoned on the side, you know, which is one of those things that they did with G2.
Yeah,
it's just kind of funky. But yeah, I like him, and I don't know if I love this or hate this, but he's got like Mr. Fusion on the back there. You know, like Doc is going to get out and say, "Where we're going, we don't need roads."
Yeah.
So that's, you know, a question. Well, the original Sunstreaker had kind of those twin airfoils on top of the hood, or on top of the car, the bonnet, if you will.
Yeah, that entire mold, that mold throughout Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, and Punch Counterpunch, they all have that thing.
Yeah, yeah. But I never really noticed it as being Mr. Thirsty or Mr. Fusion.
Mr. Fusion, yeah.
Mr. Fusion until now, because they've actually painted it. They have like silver paint apps on it that makes it stand out better.
You know, you could probably, if you remolded this car mold a little bit, painted it gray, gave it a little bit more blue, and maybe made the wheels turn up. There you go, transforming DeLorean.
There you well, the DeLorean is pretty
unique,
symbolic. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it'd be cool if they could get the rights from GMC to make a DeLorean. I would be so behind that. That would kick ass. But yeah, that would be neat. And lastly, from the box set is Skybite. And when I first heard they were going to do a Skybite, I was almost disappointed because Skybite is not a G2 character.
Mm-hmm.
I love Skybite. I think he's awesome. He was my favorite character from Robots in Disguise because I just thought he was that cool. And they really, I want to say in the comic, for the Botcon comic, they really brought out his personality from, the Robots in Disguise series, where, he's big and he's in charge, but he is quoting haikus the whole time. I thought that was funny. But no, they did the Energon Sharkticon mold for this one, and I like that mold. I think it was meant to be an homage to the Nemesis.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, kind of look like a shark.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's neat. The whole thing with the from Energon, the Autobots deluxe sizes kind of combined.
Mm-hmm.
As upper halves and lower halves of a body, like you all form the legs, that type of thing. Whereas the Decepticons didn't combine, but they had pop out, kind of hidden weapons. And this guy's kind of got, this whole back fins flip up and become like cannons.
Yeah.
And that's, okay, I'll buy that. But I think they look a lot better as, kind of Nemesis style battleships. It's actually got turrets on him that spin around, and he's got a lot of play value on him. I think when I read Thorzine's review of this guy, he said that basically because Skybite and the Sharkticons that are of the same mold as this guy are basically they're so expensive that you're not going to be able to get them easily. Well, what he thought would be nice as a troop building idea is to get the Energon Sharkticon toys, get a bunch of those together, and call those your troops, and then your Sharkticons would then be the generals under Skybite.
That's awesome.
It's a neat idea, yeah. I mean, and plus, if you look hard enough, you can probably still find those Sharkticons or Energon Sharkticons for sale at like Big Lots or Dollar General.
Yeah.
I've got one in the closet. They have the universe packaging, so that's kind of neat. Yeah, but I like this guy. They gave him a new head. Actually, it looks like Robots in Disguise Skybite, and the paint is just dead on. He looks really good.
Yeah, the paint on this one is, again, for the majority, I think this and Straight Star, or Streetwise, whatever you want to call him,
Yeah.
They're the two they're the two less gaudy of the five, because they're basically from different molds.
Hold on here. I'm stretching. I'm as far away from the computer as I can possibly get without injuring the headset. And what I'm going to do, if I can, is reach way up
Okay,
high.
well, yeah, while he's reaching, I'm going to talk over him so you people, so he doesn't complain, oh, you got to edit that out.
No, it's okay. I got it. I reached up and pulled down Skybite from my Robots in Disguise shelf.
Oh, okay.
So that I could hold them up side by side and kind of compare and contrast them for a second. But I really liked the Robots in Disguise Skybite mold in that they used a lot of the shiny metal plastic on him, kind of like how they're doing now with the animated line in Japan.
Yeah.
So he's got lots of shiny metal. But when you look at the Botcon Skybite, you see how his chest is like blue on one side and silver on the other, and he's got a lot of pink and chrome on there.
Mm-hmm.
The Robots in Disguise Skybite looks just like that.
Oh, awesome.
They went almost color for color when they decorated this guy. He looks really good. In fact, now that I'm looking at this guy, the original, I'm very surprised that they were able to get away with the paint apps that they did on him, because this is a really nicely painted figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he looks, especially in like shark mode, he looks really, really good, because they, didn't just leave him, a default blue or gray shark. I mean, he's got a lot of, metallic bits coming through the shark skin, and they individually painted all this. So it looks really nice. And he's got like a red eye, which is in shark mode.
If the and just looking at the robot mode of the Botcon one,
Yeah.
if the Matrix didn't have handles and finger holes, you could put the center of the Matrix in his chest.
In the robot mode?
Yeah, the silver.
Oh, yeah, he's kind of got that circular thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. In the older one, actually had a Predacon symbol in the center of his chest.
Oh, cool.
So this guy, I mean, he's not going to have that there, but yeah, I mean, the way he looks, especially the Robot in Disguise one, it's almost like he's got the shark face on his chest. So like you see the eyes, and there's like teeth under his abs,
Yep.
or above his abs, I should say, and that kind of comes through a little bit in the Botcon version. But yeah, they painted this one really well. He looks really nice. I'm just gonna put Skybite here on my desk because I dig him so much. He's gonna hang out here as opposed to going back up in the shelf. Yeah, I like that. I should have pulled him down from the shelf earlier in order to compare him, but I didn't because I was foolish. Okay, so moving right along, the big item from the I was gonna jump into the Botcon store, the Fun Publications store stuff, but I think first we should talk about Slicer.
Okay.
Because he was the giveaway figure.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so basically when you stand in line to get your box set and register, they hand you the box set, they hand you your folder with the certificate of authenticity,
Yeah.
and the comic book, right? And then they give you Slicer and say, "Here you go, thanks for coming." And Slicer is really neat in that he can either be a shattered glass wheeljack, or he can be an Action Master Slicer. And I'm not sure how much you know about Action Masters. I don't actually have any Action Masters. And kind of like the Pretenders, I don't actually collect the Action Masters or the Pretenders.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently what they did is they repainted the Action Master Wheeljack, and they painted him blue and made him a Decepticon named Slicer. So technically he's not G2. But, yeah.
Yeah, but isn't the whole point of the additional, whether it's the free figure or I don't know. I don't know, as far as like past Botcons, like the only one I really know is obviously 2008, which was Shattered Glass, but I thought the point was for the extra exclusives that they sell is figures that would go along with the set, but aren't really in the continuity of that year's set. I don't know.
Well, what happens is no, they're all supposed to be in the same continuity, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the problem with Slicer is that he's got the he still has the Autobot insignia on him.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and what they did to make it really confusing is they painted it purple. So essentially what you have is a Shattered Glass Wheeljack. But they named him Slicer. And painted him as the Action Master. So, but I mean, there's also pictures of Shattered Glass Wheeljack out there who is also blue. So it's like, oh man, I'm sure that was meant to be an homage to Slicer, but still. So I mean, it could be either or. But the fact that he's got a purple Autobot insignia and kind of molded into the plastic doesn't help.
Yeah, apparently not.
But no, it's a nice mold. In fact, I think they reused this mold as Big Daddy. Oh no, not this one. The other one they remolded as Big Daddy. This one looks more like G1 Wheeljack, whereas I want to say in Cybertron, they basically took the head from this one and put it on a green muscle car.
Oh.
And and that was he was still named Downshift, but then for the movie line they repainted that one black and gave him red flames and called him Big Daddy. The black car with the red flames named Big Daddy being a Micromaster back from I think 1987. He was part of the Hot Rod group. He was I want to say the leader of the Hot Rod Micromaster team. Hard to find nowadays. I guess he was popular.
I bet.
Anyway, I'm going off on tangents here that I probably shouldn't be going off on in the interest of time. But, so once you got your box set, once you got your slicer, you then get into another line that's pretty long, about an hour long, and that line is to the Botcon store.
Right.
Where you can buy Botcon exclusive toys that, you don't register for ahead of time. They don't even tell you what they are.
Right.
They start putting out pictures of the box set toys months ahead of time to kind of whet everybody's appetite. And make everybody go, wow, that's the coolest thing ever. I have to own one. But they don't actually say what the other toys are. Some of them slip, like through the Chinese auction site Taibo.
Mm-hmm.
So you may, like Rapido, I think there was a picture of him that got out. And just before I'm pretty sure pictures of Skybite and the Sharkticons got out. And just beforehand, I want to say pictures of Scorch came out, but by then it was practically the week of Botcon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, they keep it a big secret. You don't really know what you're going to get until you get there. And then, each one is, like $80 for the set or more.
Oof.
Yeah. Oh, they're expensive. Yeah. But you're there basically to buy these, so why not? The big one is Double Punch, and then in a separate bag is Scorch with Ravage. And Double Punch is a repaint of Scorponok. And I want to say it's Energon Scorponok. He was from Energon, wasn't he? Pretty sure. I think I believe he was Energon, and then what they did is, for Cybertron, they repainted him in black Xeric colors and replaced his gimmicks with cyber power keys.
I have no clue, so.
Well, I've got them in the shelf. I haven't pulled them out yet, but basically, you had a cyber power key and you plugged it in there, and he then unloaded his gimmicks. But what they did is they repainted him. He's black for the most part, but he's also teal and pink and orange.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like somebody threw up on that thing.
No, they went all out on him. I like it. I like the way he looks. I was looking on Thorazine's site to see if they had pictures of him, but he hasn't put pictures up of this guy yet. But no, he's nice, and I like the Scorponok mold. I mean, I like that figure. He's big. He's just bulky. He's like all shoulders and arms. He looks like a big, powerful guy. The other one was Scorch and Ravage, which was a repaint of Classics Hound. And, Classics Hound already had that Ravage on his back.
Yeah.
But I guess they weren't sure what to do with Ravage, so they just repainted him as a Shattered Glass Ravage.
Well,
it's a little confusing because, again, you're trying to stick to this G2 motif. And this Scorch is a repaint of Turbo Master Scorch.
yeah.
The Turbo Masters were, again, UK exclusives.
I mean, as far as Scorch goes, or Turbo Master, whatever you want to call him, because apparently he's called Turbo Master in the comic book. Apparently they're all called by their original UK G2 names in the comics, even though the toys themselves are different names.
Well, his name was Scorch, but Turbomaster was his designation. I mean, it was like it's kind of like cassettes or that type of thing. I mean, there were a few Turbomasters.
Yeah,
but he was a Turbomaster, but his name was Scorch. But for here, they couldn't name him Scorch, so they just named him kind of like they couldn't name Pyro.
Yeah.
So they named him Spark. Or here they named him Turbomaster.
Yeah, I guess it's good that they got the whole repaint of Universe 2.0 Hound out with repainted as Shattered Glass Ravage, because now all the damn fans can... I'm a Ravage fanboy as much as the next guy, but they're taking this whole Shattered Glass... As much as I love Shattered Glass...
Oh, this coming from you, who's
I know.
it'd be great if they repainted everything as a Shattered Glass.
No. It has to be certain figures, but it's
buy
like...
1,000 of them.
Everybody on the internet that is a Transformers fan is like, oh yes, Shattered Glass Ravage, we must have it. Well, now you fucking have it, now shut the fuck up.
I think... I don't want to disparage upon David Willis, but I think David Willis wanted a Shattered Glass Ravage so bad that he could taste it. So then you've got, every David Willis fanboy out there saying, it would be great, a Shattered Glass Ravage.
I think the problem I have with the Shattered Glass Ravage fandom stuff is because they wanted him to be the fan-in figure. A lot of people were voting him for the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people?
Right, because he helped mold the franchise early on.
Exactly.
He was so important to the franchise. Most people don't even know it existed.
Yeah,
if you don't go to the Botcons, you probably don't know what Shattered Glass is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, or if you're not, if you don't collect those.
Yeah.
Most people don't. There's probably about 2,000 people total who, the people who went to Botcon that year and got them that really care about this.
And I mean, we're kind of getting off on this a little bit, but, I'll say this. I love the Shattered Glass comic. Out of the Shattered Glass toys, I only have 3 left, and they are my most favorites, which is Optimus, Rodimus, and Goldbug. The rest of them, I don't care for. What?
Yeah.
I just don't. And I think it would do good to find some sort of episodic version of cartoonage of Shattered Glass comic, but it'll never happen. But anyway, getting on with the rest of this, who's next?
Slightly smaller bag. We have Rapido and Cindersaur. Now, Rapido is another Classics mold. I'm drawing a blank here, but I'm going to say like Silver Streak. I can't remember which Classics character this is. But yeah, Rapido was a G2 guy, and he was a red card. Let me see if I got him in my... There he is. Yeah.
The thing about the Botcon Rapido is his bio is in Spanish.
They released an English version.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. But the cool thing is, if you hold up G2 Rapido up next to this guy, they're very similar. I mean, Rapido is red, and he's got the 19 on the side. He's got the white headlights. He's got he doesn't so much have a spoiler, but the back of the car is painted with a black line across it, and it's mimicked in the spoiler on the back here. And he's got the Autobot insignia that says Autobot across the windshield. Mm-hmm. So very similar. And the other thing about these particular G2, this G2 subline, and I forgot what the hell they were called. I want to say like Motorvators or the subline, but basically there was 4 of them, and each one, when they transformed, they had like a motor, a big, silver motor that coming out of the hood, right? That became their gun. So their motor came out, and they ended up with a gun in their hand that had a giant motor on it. God, I want to say Motorvators. I probably should have done a little more research on this before the podcast, but yeah. So there was 4 of those, and basically, Rapido's engine was behind the hood. So it's kind of like he's one of those cars with the engine in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did to mimic that is, the back of the back of the car, the top on the Botcon version is silver. So it's not like an engine behind it, as opposed to having a rear windshield, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have an engine there, but it is painted silver, so it looks like it could be an engine from a bird's eye view, I suppose.
So he basically has hot rod syndrome almost.
Hot rod syndrome. That's hot. Well, yeah.
Is it the engine?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
I can't get behind that now.
All right.
Well, no, because I'm thinking where hot rod would be, the other motivators, for lack of a better term, or lack of a term that I remember, they had hot rod syndrome, where they all had like a big engine on the front.
Mm-hmm.
But that popped off and became their gun. Right? The actual gun portion was under the hood, whereas Rapido had it behind, in front of the spoiler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why, in front of the spoiler there on the Botcon version, it's painted silver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I think I've said pretty much all I needed to say about this guy, but,
Okay, Forrest Gump.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, I think he's okay. Again, he's got teal on him, and it's just, silver and red, and there's that. The other guy, Cindersaur, which I was really surprised about. I'll tell you why. In the Cybertron line, they released basically a Beast Wars Megatron and a Beast Wars Optimus.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Megatron was, basically a big biomechanical dinosaur, and the Optimus was a big biomechanical ape. And they painted them, roughly in Megatron and Optimus colors. Or I should say, Cybertron Optimus and Cybertron Megatron colors. Now, they ended up repainting that mold for the Beast Wars 10th anniversary line.
Right.
Which, I thought was iffy, but they needed something to package in the DVD and the little miniature version of the Axelon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did that. Anyway, Botcon repainted that Megatron mold, except he's blue and like lime green and orange and purple. Just purple highlights. Mm-hmm. Mostly he's blue, but he's got a lot of transparent blue on him. He's not completely transparent, but like his tail and his chest and his little stubby little, Tyrannosaurus arms are transparent.
No, that's a good or a bad thing?
Well, he looks good. I mean, I should say he looks good for a G2 toy, right? Yeah, he looks good for a G2 toy, but he looks like a G2 toy. He's just gaudy as all hell. But the problem is that I didn't know where he came from. I had no idea. It turns out that in the UK, they did transparent plastic repaints of the Firecons, which was like Flame Feather, Sparkstalker, and Cindersaur.
Oh.
In G1, these were little stubby figures, and just didn't look much like a Transformer at all, right? They
so basically a dinosaur version of G1 Bumblebee.
No. Yes and no. Well, these made really... I mean, if you get a chance to look at them up on the wiki, the Firecons. The Firecons, and to a certain extent, even the Sparkabots, at least the Sparkabots look like robots in robot mode. These guys, look like a... They let's say they put a lot of effort in making the Firecon mode, right? They look like little monsters. Short, squat little monsters. But they didn't put a whole lot of thought into what the robot mode was going to look like. So I mean, literally, I think you like move the head back and switch the arms up and move the legs around, and it became a brick, a brick with a face, and that's pretty much it. But the whole gimmick was that you kind of scoot them along a little bit, and sparks would shoot out. So I mean, hence the FireCon and Sparkabots.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now, and wow.
They're just ugly little things. They don't look much like Transformers at all.
No.
But the deal was, and which I thought was really, really cool, is that in the UK for G2, they repainted them. Well, they're not even repainted. They're literally remolded in clear plastic. I've never seen these before. I had no idea these existed. I didn't know until David Willis linked them on his blog.
Mm-hmm.
He knew about them apparently. They're on the TF Wiki, but I didn't know. So anyway, this is supposed to be a mutant version of G2 Cindersaur.
Yeah, it looks more like, because I'm looking at the Botcon version on the wiki.
Yeah.
It looks more like G1 or not G1, Beast Wars Megatron than anything else.
Well, when I first saw them, I thought they were shooting for G2 Grimlock, because for G2 they repainted Grimlock blue,
Mm-hmm.
and they also repainted him in like a light blue, a turquoise, right? So that, yeah, he has a dark blue version, and then he has a rarer, harder to find turquoise version. And I've seen the turquoise version, but they wanted like $100 for him, so I didn't bother to buy him. So when I saw this guy, it's like, yeah, he's got dark blue that's transparent, right? And then he's got a lighter blue for his legs and his head. And I thought, well, this doesn't make a very good Grimlock. True, he's a Tyrannosaurus, but still not a very good Grimlock. I mean, especially when you take into consideration the orange and the lime green and the purple on him.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't look very good. Yeah, so I wasn't sure what to make of this guy up until I found out that G2 Cindersaur was transparent. So,
Uh-huh.
and that's the story behind this guy. Anyway, and I still got one more to go. Technically, 3 more to go. They did a repaint of Skybite, or technically another repaint of the Energon Sharkticon mold.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I still have got these guys in the plastic, to be honest. This one, he's again kind of teal and pink. Maybe they went a little overboard on the teal and pink. I don't know. Who's to say? I was gonna say, and I know that.
Yeah, these one's from Botcon. They're more sleek than the G1 ones, obviously.
Yeah.
They kind of remind me of Scourge, unfortunately.
You think so?
A little. Well, the alt mode a little bit. I mean, all it needs is a head popping up. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the Decepticon symbol and because of the purple that's on in the alt modes.
Yeah, no, I'm really seeing especially the alt mode is very Nemesis-like. But I think that the fact that they're pink and kind of lavender, I mean, they have gray. The hull's gray, but they use a lot of pink and very light blue as highlight colors. So I like it because they still look like Sharkticons. The head especially looks like a Sharkticon head. I'm pretty sure that this is the same head that was used on Energon's Sharkticon. And I was going to say, maybe I could pull out my Sharkticon and kind of compare and contrast, but I'm not seeing him on my shelf. He's in there somewhere.
He's buried amongst all the rest of them.
Well, I don't know. Actually, I've actually got all the locks locked on here. So let me open it up. See if I can spot him. Oh, there he is. Hold on. Come to me, chubby bastard.
Yeah, while he's looking for his chubby bastard,
I already found my chubby, but if you want to say something, you can.
I was gonna bring up. I know we're on this whole other thing, but I don't know. I don't think you attended the custom class.
I didn't know.
And
but,
the custom
if I had
class
known, I
figure
would've-
for this year was custom class Sideswipe, and I don't really like it.
He's black.
He's not just black. He's black and silver and hot pink. Again, I know that was what they were going for G2, and I'm posting you the link so you can see the picture. I don't know if you've seen him before.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've actually
well-
got G2 Sideswipe, and he's a black Sideswipe, but when you transform him, he's got white and kind of pink,
Yeah.
and his gun is like neon green.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Oh no, he's very G2. Very G2. But no, I really like that. I kind of wish that I had gone to the custom class. I mean, when they first started doing custom classes, it was like, okay, we're going to do a custom figure. And it didn't tie in much with the theme, right? It was just, we're just going to paint a custom figure. But now, I want to say the last couple of years, they've been doing figures that go with the theme.
Yeah.
I don't think they did that with like the Shattered Glass, because they just repainted a Grimlock. But
Well,
maybe they did. I don't remember. But last year, I think they did one that went with the theme, and this year they did one that went with the theme, and it came out really nice. I like it.
yeah.
Anyway, to digress, I've actually got my Sharkticon in hand. And yeah, now that I'm looking at him, he does use a lot of that lavender and gray. And then he's got blue highlights. Now, the Botcon Sharkticon uses, the gray as the body, and a lot of that lavender. And to a certain extent, pink. But I would almost say that if they were going to stay true to him, they shouldn't have used the pink. They should have used more of a baby blue.
Mm.
But maybe they didn't because Skybite was already a goodly chunk of blue. I don't know. But yeah, the Sharkticon uses a lot of green stickers, and that's kind of reflected in in their robot mode. You can see the green on their shoulders. And I think that's about it. They didn't use a whole lot of green on them. Not that I can see. Mostly just the lavender and the pink and the light. I guess you can consider that light blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of light blue. Yeah, so no, they look really good. I was really happy with the way these turned out. I thought it was interesting the way they made 3 separate bio cards, one for earth, air, and water based.
Right.
They did something very similar with the sweeps.
Yeah.
And I want to say that was last year, where they made 3 identical figures in the same bag.
Yeah, it
And
was.
they made them cheap. Like these guys for 3, it was like $52.
Yeah, it was. I think it was sweep like 2, 6, and 7, or 2, 6, and 9, or something. That was the 3-pack last year.
Yeah, and they sold out then too, really quickly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, they're relatively cheap, and people wanted as many of them as they could get as troop builders.
Mm.
So no, I think it's a nice idea. I can see how they would continue to do that if they can get away with it. Like in 2005, they had the Virulent Clones as a 2-pack.
Right.
And I think if in retrospect, I bet they were wishing they could do 3 or 4 and mark them down to $50.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, they still got those on sale from I think it was 2005.
I just found out that Star Trek and Transformers crossover.
Where?
Well, you had mentioned about you weren't sure in the past if the customization class figure had anything to do with the actual set pieces,
Yeah.
the actual theme of each year. And I wanted to look up 2008's Botcon, because obviously that's my favorite set. But The customization class figure was Nightbeat, based off of the what the hell is it?
G1 Nightbeat, the headmaster.
It's a repaint of Timeline's Nightbeat. But it says here, under the whole toy thing for Nightbeat, it says, an Autobot symbol pierced at the center by dagger, representing the Autobot secret police, which is very likely an homage to the emblem of the Terran Empire from Star Trek's Mirror Universe, the main inspiration for Shattered Glass.
Yeah.
Wow.
That makes sense.
I'd never ever thought that at all.
Well, I mean, Shattered Glass is obviously an homage to Mirror Mirror.
Yeah.
Which was that Star Trek episode that had the reverse universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is where you kind of phase out and quit listening because I'm talking about.
No, I'm just like, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. At least I can't hear you typing this time. That's a plus. But, yeah, but that's pretty much it for the Botcon toys. I would say there was one more item that you could only pick up, as far as I know, at the Botcon, and that was at the Mega Toy Fan booth. They had that custom headmaster. I think I mentioned that before. You know, the head robots have that kind of a cobra looking thing that turns into, well, it's a snake with a cobra cowl, and it transforms into a head.
Right.
Yeah, well, they had those at the Mega Toy Fan booth, and that was, you know, kind of neat. But I went to that guy's parts party and bought one. It was $20, but the repaint they made exclusively for them is it's just red clear plastic. There's no paint applications or anything, but still kind of neat. And this is the version that comes with the extra gun turret that fits on his back. And then the gun turret can also act as a gun for whoever's using it. So if you've got a headmaster with no head, then you plug this guy into it, and then he has an extra gun that's also see-through. All of my headmasters have heads, though, so I don't have that to worry about. I suppose I could take one of their heads off.
Off with his head.
Off with his head. I've got, like my Siren and my Nightbeat. I suppose I could take their heads off. There aren't really any red headmasters. I mean, because I think a translucent red head sitting on top of a red headmaster would kick ass. Yeah. Oh, no, you know, I can't really say that. I have Hosehead. And Hosehead, he's a fire truck. He's red. But he's a Headmaster Junior, so I'm thinking that maybe this Crystal Cobra is what they call it. I think maybe that head might be a little big for him.
What the hell kind of a name is Hosehead?
That's his name.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So overall, do you like the entire set, or are there things that you wish you hadn't have bought? Even we all know you're a completionist, like a lot of other Transformers fans, but I mean, is there? Yeah. If there was something that you had to part with, what would it be and why?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I'm happy with the set. I wouldn't split up my box set, right? But I think the Street Star paint job is a little plain. I mean, especially if we're looking at G2 paint, right? We want it to be as pink and orange and teal as we can. And, you know, Street Star kind of misses that mark. I was a little bothered with, again, the Shattered Glass Ravage paint. I think they could have gone with something different. I mean, honestly, they could have painted him or painted Ravage like blue and called him a Cobalt Sentry or something. They didn't necessarily have to go back. I mean, and there's precedent here as far as like last year they did a Alita 1 and Razor Claw combo, and those were not supposed to be from from that year. They were meant to be included in the set from the previous year.
Right.
They were actually in the comic from the previous year. They didn't appear in the comic from last year. So it was like, hey, we really wanted to make these for 2008, but we're going to throw them at you in 2009 instead. So there was that. So, I mean, there's precedent there. But, I mean, like you, I think they probably could have skipped that and made it something different. I think that was a little gratuitous. Maybe they just did it to make David Willis happy. I don't know. I mean, if that's all it came down to, then great. David Willis deserves to be happy. He's a nice enough guy. But, the rest of us are all scratching our head going, why couldn't they have gone with something different? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I think they were shooting for, over-the-top gaudy paint jobs. And Pyro, or Spark, is, the epitome of that. And...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you've got Breakdown, which is like, oh my god, what the hell? And then Double Punch, which starts off kind of black, but then becomes, again, oh my god, what the hell? Why is he orange and pink? That type of thing. And I dig it. I'll stand behind that. I think that was a great idea. Maybe they could have gone with different molds. I can definitely see why they threw Skybite and the Sharkticons in there. Looking back at the way they did the sweeps, that they're sitting there scratching their heads saying, what character can we use that will lend himself to multiple copies that we can sell in a troop builder pack? And of course, the Sharkticons are going to come to mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, it's a layup. You've got Energon Sharkticon, who's already got a head that looks like G1 Sharkticon. Why not just paint him? G1 Sharkticon is already, lavender and teal, or lavender and light blue, with green. I mean, he's already pretty gaudy. So he kind of goes in that G2 category. Why not do that? And while you're at it, what other shark comes to mind? Well, Skybite really comes to mind. So sure, let's throw Skybite in there too. I mean, it makes sense. No, they're not G2, but it still makes sense. And I can kind of see why they would go with that. Again, does it really belong? Maybe not. But no, I'm happy I bought them. In fact, I was tempted to keep Chrissy's set. Well, every time we go to Botcon, I buy a set of all the toys, and Chrissy buys a set of all the toys, and then she immediately puts her set on eBay.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, I want to say usually, that will pay for the trip.
Not this year.
Not this year. Well, this year was Disney. Every time we went to dinner, it was $150.
Oh my god.
Disney's not cheap. They may say, oh, we got really good deals on our hotels this year. But, you still have to get into the parks. That's $80 a day. You still have to eat, and that's, I guess $150 for dinner. It's just ridiculous how expensive it is to be there. And, I mean, even if we had gotten $1,200 or $1,500 for our toys, which we have in the past, right? If you sell them quickly enough, you can get a lot of money. We made the mistake this year of putting it on a 5-day auction instead of a 3-day auction. And the stuff that sells first gets the most money. The stuff that sells 5 days in isn't going to make as much. So I think, in all, we probably made $300 or $400 back. We probably could have made, 5 or 6 if we put it on a 3-day auction.
So
not enough to pay for the trip, mind you.
Yeah, no. Are you guys going to go to Disneyland next year?
It's weird because I'm like, did you read the blog post? I was just writing a blog post. I haven't included pictures yet, though. But yeah, I think the plan, they announced this at Botcon, is that next year they're going to have it in California again, in Pasadena.
Yep.
I'm not really pleased with the whole reusing of locations. But again, there's another movie coming out, so they're probably going to tie that in somehow, like they did last year.
As long as they make Transformers films every 2 to 3 years, Botcon will be at the same place every 2 to 3 years.
Well, for the first Transformer movie, that wasn't the case. I think I'm trying to remember where the hell it was. It wasn't.
No, it was in
Rhode Island that
it was
year.
it was in Pasadena.
In 2007? No, it wasn't.
I don't know, 2009. Never mind. I was thinking about last year.
Yeah. Oh, last year it was, but
Yeah.
that was the second movie. For the first, now we saw the first movie at Botcon,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to. Was that Rhode Island or not? I don't remember. But no, we saw it at Botcon, and it was great because we saw it like 2 weeks earlier than everybody else in the world, and we saw it in a room full of Transformers fans, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was great. We really enjoyed that, and it'll if we get a private screening next time or next year, that'll be great too. But they announced it at the awards dinner. They said, "Oh, blocks are already open. Go ahead and register your rooms." Well, the next morning, all the rooms were booked. So it's like, well, do we still go? Do we try to find a different hotel? We actually got reservations, but I believe that they probably double and triple booked, just in case people, cancel out or something at the last second.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I think what we're going to end up doing, actually, is just going to Disneyland. Disneyland's 25 miles away from Pasadena. I mean, that's about how much I drive to work in the morning.
Yeah.
My commute's about 45 minutes to an hour. I don't know what it's going to be like in LA traffic, but I think
I'd say if you guys want to go to a convention next year, go to TFCon.
I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. But Chrissy really wants to go to Disneyland. She heard at Disney World that Disneyland is almost like Universal Studios as opposed to Disney World, right?
Right.
So I don't know how much of that's true. She looked it up. She thought it would be cool to take the kids. She wants to go to Disneyland for the week, which means I will be driving back and forth. But, maybe it'll be all right. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to fly. We've got a year to mull it over.
Yeah.
So maybe not. I'm sure that if Disney made it possible to reserve rooms a year ahead of time, Chrissy would have reserved rooms there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that way we could have gone either way. I'm not sure. It depends. I mean, if something comes up between now and then, it's entirely possible that I won't go to either. I just don't know. It's too early to tell.
Oh, I don't understand why they announced it so early. Did they announce this year's last year at 2000? Oh, you weren't there, but
No, they didn't.
See,
they don't normally announce where it's going to be until registration.
Yeah,
registration's usually about 4 months before Botcon.
See, that's why I don't understand why they would have announced it at this year's show for next year, unless it's because of the whole movie thing.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I think that was really stupid.
I'm not entirely sure if I agree with it. And again, the next morning everyone's like, "Oh, hotels are already all booked."
Yep.
And I'm like, "Well, fuck."
Yeah, and that's the poor marketing part of it is, oh wow, we've already got all these hotels booked up, and now we're gonna have to find another hotel for people to go to, and blah 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 blah. And it's like,
I don't think there are more hotels there.
Right.
If I remember right, that was the problem with that particular venue, was that they don't have a whole lot of hotels in the area. Yeah. And apparently there's rampant crime as well. So I'm thinking, I'm going to drive 25 miles to get there. I'm going to park in a parking lot that's 4 blocks away from the convention center, and I'm going to get mugged in between.
Yeah. That little old lady from Pasadena.
Well, yeah, something like that.
Oh, come on. I was making a Beach Boys reference.
Some type of timely reference, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not sure.
I won't go. I will try to go to TFCon next year. I will not go to Botcon unless it's in this area somewhere, like if it comes back to Lexington, or if it comes back to Cincinnati, or if it comes to, hell, if it even comes here to Louisville, which I don't think they ever will. But I don't think I will ever go to that show.
Well,
Not if it's on the West Coast, I won't.
As much, I want to say, as much fan winking as they did for David Willis this year. David Willis specifically wanted Shattered Glass Ravage. David Willis specifically wanted Slicer. Apparently he had been petitioning for a Slicer for years. It's like, okay, we get it. You guys love David Willis. Fine. But I wouldn't doubt it if, before too long, you'll end up seeing Botcon in Columbus. That's where he lives, or somewhere near Columbus.
Yeah.
I mean, mark my words, it will happen. And it'll be like, and there will be David Willis saying, I told them to have it in Columbus, and they did.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us in our little Botcon 2010 exclusive toy roundup. You have anything else you'd like to get off your chest before we leave the people?
No, we didn't do a whole lot of talking about the toys as much as we talked about the book and the Botcon and the video game and whatever else. But I think we covered the basics.
Well, the toy talk,
including maybe a little history lesson on G2 and Action Masters and that type of thing.
Yeah, well, the toy talk outside of the tangents it's running at an hour and 7 minutes. So total, this show is going to be like an hour and 37 minutes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
time flies when you're talking toys.
Truly epic.
Yes, exactly.
Swan dive into the best podcast of your life.
But I'm scared. I can't dive. I have to go to Fantasia to save the... Oh, what the hell's that damn Empress's name? Anyway, never mind. It's a Neverending Story 2 reference, people. Sorry.
Oh, you suck. Neverending Story 2. Who saw that? I mean, honestly. Why would you
I own it. Shut up.
Okay. The first one, classic. Atreyu! Yeah. The thing that I've been really hung up on lately is the Old Spice Man. Have you seen these?
Oh, God. Let's end the show before we get into this.
Oh, no. He's like, swan dive. That is so epic. In fact, I was on Twitter today kind of tweeting as Old Spice Man, trying to do the voice. And, I mean, it's just the way he talks. If you go and look on YouTube, he was doing personalized responses to people on Twitter and Facebook and that type of thing. And it's just really, really funny stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, you'll have to see it, I suppose.
One of the things we should bring up before we go, I don't know if you saw it. My mom called me the other night and said something about, turn on Pawn Stars. There's this guy that's selling his giant Transformers collection or something. I'm like, I just kind of blew her off because I don't watch the History Channel and I don't watch Pawn Stars.
I love the History Channel, but I'd never heard of Pawn Stars until I heard about it on Twitter and Facebook, and then I got really interested because it's like, wait a minute, this guy's got this massive G2 or G1 collection. I've got to see it. Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool.
Now,
did you actually see pictures of it or the video?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh my God! You know what? You don't read my Twitter feed at all because I know for a fact that I posted pictures, especially on Facebook. The links are on my Facebook.
Okay, well, I'll look at your Facebook. But yes, I do read your Twitter feed. We're getting way off topic here. Anyway.
But suffice to say, this guy doesn't have just a collection. Like me, I've got a collection. I've got one of each, right?
Yeah.
I try to make sure I have, I don't want to say one of everything, but yeah, I like the fact that I've got a full collection. I'm a completionist. Mm-hmm. This guy, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but he's got... First of all, he doesn't have shelves. They're all lined up on the floor like army men in an array, right? And he's got them lined up according to who they are. So he's got 5 Power Master Primes in a row. He's got 2 Fort Maxes in a row. He's got 5 or 6 Superions lined up in a row. And I don't mean like aerial bots. I mean Superion in a row.
Right.
He'll have 6 or 7 Devastators in various colors, green, yellow, orange, in a row. He's got one whole wall is just rows of city bots. So he's got like 5 or 6 Omega Supremes, and then behind that is a whole row of Trypticons. And I don't know if they're complete, but I mean the bodies are there, right?
Right.
So it's like, oh my god. I mean, it's not like, yeah, he's got like 1,000, but it could be 1,000 of only 120 different figures.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I was just like, who does this? How is this? Why would you do that? It doesn't. And they were all G1.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like
for me
really neat.
Yeah, for me, as far as my Transformers collection goes, and I've said this before, number 1, it has to be a character I like. Number 2, G1 toys I grew up on, obviously.
Yeah.
Number 3, with anything new, like, say, from classics on, I have to have 2 of each character. Like, animated. I have 2 Blurs, I have 2 Jazz, 2 Voyager Primes, 2, well, I don't have 2 Shockwaves.
Keep them in 2 different modes, though.
Right.
This guy's just got them lined up in robot mode.
Oh,
one in front of the other. Again, you know how you'd line up your army men?
Right, yeah.
And this is literally like he had them set up in clusters, one in front of the other in robot mode.
Yeah.
It was really weird to see.
Now, I'm assuming since the show was Pawn Stars, he's selling all this?
Well, he had them come out to his house, and he said, okay, what do you... And they actually brought a toy, I don't want to say like,
Guru.
Toy guru. Someone who knew how much it was worth, right?
Yeah.
And the guy came in and he said, this collection's worth anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. And this dickhead says, I'll give you $5,000 for it. And the guy goes, no. And then he goes, okay, fine, I'll give you $10,000 for it. And the guy goes, no. I didn't actually see it, but from the description that I read, that's what happened.
I'm gonna have to find it online so I can watch this episode. I don't know if the episode is online, but
Thorazine sent me the link to the video. I haven't watched it. I just saw the pictures. The pictures are like, holy shit! It's really neat to see this. But and I hope the guy gets $15,000-$20,000 for it because maybe I'll put my kids through college on my collection. I don't know. But this was. He had just a buttload of G1 goodness lined up there, and I can see why he would say, I just want to sell it in one big lot to somebody else, like a pawn store or a pawn shop, because like other people were saying, why don't you take it to Botcon? Well, other people were saying take it to eBay and sell it there, and I'm thinking, what a huge pain in the ass, because you may end up, if you have 1,000 items, you may end up selling each one of those to a different person. That's 1,000 boxes you have to box up, ship out, keep track of, who got what and what went where and who paid and who didn't pay, and it's just a colossal pain in the ass. I had a huge amount of trouble with Chrissy's Botcon sales on eBay. So and that was just like 3 or 4 boxes I had to mail out. Let alone, it reminds me, I wrote a blog post about that, never posted it. But yeah, it was a huge pain in the butt. By the time I got done, I think I would have been happier just keeping them. It was really, really just a big mess, and I can't imagine what 1,000 items would be like.
Oh yeah, what I don't understand is when you told me that story about Chrissy's set.
Yeah,
you're like me. You post listings that say, U.S. auction or U.S. Canadian auction only.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, how the hell did a Chinese guy get her set?
I have no idea. If he's willing to pay for shipping, fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Go ahead. I'll ship him out. I mean, $65 for shipping to China.
Oh, God.
If he wants to pay it, fine. Otherwise I would have had to relist it. And again, as I said before, 3 days after Botcon, you can get a pretty good amount of money. 5 days after Botcon, not so much.
Yeah. 7
or 10 days after Botcon, you're not going to get dick. And right now I can go on Botcon and find people that are selling their 2010 stuff at almost cost. and
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. The first year, I think like 2006 that we did it, we put it on like a 7-day and didn't get very good value. The 2007 ones we put on the next day, and we got really good prices. I mean, people were just bidding the hell out of these.
Yeah.
And then, after a few days go by, people start deciding on how much it's really worth. Big Bad Toy Store gets theirs out, and then they decide what it's worth. So I mean, our Sharkticon sold, buy it now for $150.
Wow.
We paid $50. So yeah, bingo. A couple days later, they were going for $100.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sold early. We got a better deal. The other ones sat there for 5 days, so we didn't get nearly as good a deal.
Yeah.
We could have gotten a couple $100 more on them if we'd sold them in 3-day auctions, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
but that was a tangent. I was actually going to say something else. And I forget what it was. Yeah. Well, lost my train of thought.
Okay, so thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can comment on each episode post. Join the forums, PredaconEmpire.com/Nexus. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. I did just check this, and we have no new reviews. Follow us on Twitter. The show name there is TFToyCast. Mine is TFg1Mike. What is your Twitter, sir?
PecanCtMichael.
Become a fan on Facebook. Search Geekcast Radio Network. We hope you enjoyed this episode of ToyCast and wish you'll join us next time. Be sure to visit BigBadToyStore.com for all your Transformers and other toy-related needs and more.
Oh, hey.
What?
Don't forget to mention our UK affiliate.
Oh, yes, Blogomatic3000.com as well.
That's
Yeah.
important.
What?
That's important.
That's important.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think we've mentioned it lately, and I'm not saying we're obligated to, but, Phil's a good guy, and
Yeah, he's
pretty awesome. I really like his site, and I think we should promote it more.
Oh, yes. Well, maybe we'll put you in charge of that division of GeekCastRadio.com.
Oh, yeah, because I'm on every podcast.
Well, we can
yeah.
arrange that. But anyway, for now, I am TFg1Mike with
Michael Wilson.
Thank you for listening. Until next time, don't forget, ToyCast's official return is August 13th, 2010.
This podcast is now Diamonds.